I am Steve Vignanti doing the junkyard crawl in rural Vermont with the 1970 Ford Torino Squire station wagon. Now, the Squire was the top-of-the-line Torino wagon, came standard with Hideaway headlights, and of course the full wood grain siding on these things, which we'll get to that in a second. Now, standard engine in this car would have been a 302 two-barrel, but this one has something unusual. For an extra $45, this one has the 351 two-barrel. The difference between a 302 and a 351 is, well, a lot of things, the bore and the stroke, but also the 351 is a Cleveland, which means it has canted valves for better breathing than the Windsor inline style valve arrangement. So interesting to see $45 well spent, if you ask me. Another 30 horsepower or so over the 302 with this, probably 230 horsepower, something like that. But that's good. Good to see that. You could also get the 429 Cobra Jet in one of these things if you really wanted to spend some money, including the shaker hood. Yes, that was possible. Now, 1970, of course, was a model. It was all restyled. Motor Trend's Car of the Year for 1970. And if we go into the hood, we can see these are the Hideaway headlights right here, which are standard fare on the Squire, not optional on any other, but these are vacuum operated right here. And the door is open. There's a vacuum motor down low, and this it's basically plastic with a metal backing. Kind of a cool arrangement. It's all plastic, actually, injection molded plastic, and steel bumpers on these things. Of course, the impact bumpers wouldn't arrive till 1973, a whole different car. But air conditioning, you can see the condenser and all the goodies here for AC. The AC unit itself is gone, but it would have lived on top of that metal structure there. And under the hood, there it is, the 351 two-barrel Cleveland. That's two-barrel heads in that, which means they have smaller chambers than the four-barrel heads. So hot rodders building 351s kind of seek out those 351 Cleveland two-barrel heads, smaller chambers, more compression, and pretty much the same flow characteristics as the bigger 351 four-barrel heads. So kind of cool to see that. But getting back to the wood grain on this thing, again, Squire was the top line of the Torino wagon family. And this stuff's called Dynoc. It's an adhesive-backed vinyl that looks like wood grain, but it's not. But the outer wood trim here is fiberglass. So kind of a bunch of different kinds of materials all being used at the same time. All of it plastic. None of this is wood, obviously. But again, pretty cool. Something kind of neat to see inside of the car. Tinted windows for the AC. Kind of nice. Keep things nice and cool inside the car. And this one has the automatic on the column, probably a C4, maybe a C6. But again, the owner of this car spent the $45 on the 351, but did not spend the extra $12 for the clock. So instead, Ford gave you that elegant block-off plate right there where the clock could have gone if you bought the clock. AC vents here, but something kind of cool. The Dynoc adhesive, the adhesive-backed wood grain goes all the way onto this, the structure of the inner dash pad, all the way around this right here. Kind of interesting how they got the stick on that compound curve shape right there. Kind of a weird touch right there. Very interesting. And again, pea green original paint on this car. Nice old Pepsi can. Kind of cool what you find in these things. Remember Pepsi, this with a pop top. These things right here. If you went to the beach, you step on these things, you cut your foot. So these things went away after like 1974 or something like that. So anyway, we get into the back seats. And one thing about this, again, 1970, first year for adhesive-backed VIN stickers right here. 1960, that would be a metal plate that you could actually read, but these things delaminate and become useless. That's a bummer. All cars from like Chrysler, GM, and Ford had these stickers instead of metal tags for 1970 and beyond. Kind of a bummer if you want to decode the car. Not much to go with from there. So in the back here, this is I think it's a two-row car. You could get these things with the optional three-row seating. We'll get to that in a second. But lots of room for storage, and a lot of junkyards use the wagons as storage units. There's the remains of a Raleigh Record, a British-built 10-speed. When I was a kid, I had a Fuji S12S, which is a cool little bike, Japanese, but that's a British Raleigh Record. And it's from the 10-speed bicycle craze was kind of in its heyday in the 70s. People began, a health kick, etc., and they'd buy 10-speed bicycles and go riding for their health. And speaking of health, the gas went into this thing right here. There's a door that opens up like this. But here's the thing. This structure here, which would continue the line of the fake fiberglass wood grain, is actually made of aluminum. Kind of weird, but it's also covered with Dynoc. You can see it's peeling off right here. But under this is the gas filler. That's where probably hundreds of thousands of gallons went into that right there. Tens of thousands for sure as this car went down the road. And here's the remains of the Dynoc, the wood grain. You can see that it doesn't want to give up the ghost right here. Still kind of shiny right there. The wood grain faded out from down here, but you can see it right here. It's been protected from sun fading all these years. And something kind of cool on the Torino wagons, no matter what grade they were, was Ford's magic tailgate. Now this has got car arthritis. I can't open it. This tailgate opens this way or that way. You choose. Kind of cool. And here's a Ford dealer brochure, the 1970 Ford wagons for 1970. Here it is right here, inside here, the magic tailgate in effect. And here's the Squire in its resplendent beauty. Hideaway headlight, standard fare, and a little grill emblem. And on the page before this, let's go to the magic tailgate. Kind of neat. And yeah, there it is right there on the right picture. You can choose your way, down or sideways, either way with the tailgate right there in effect. This one here does not have the optional roof rack, which we do have on this one here with the air deflector. And the air deflector even has the Dynoc wood grain on it right there. So Ford was very thorough in the use of the Dynoc, whether it was on the instrument panel, on the inside of the instrument panel, or on the side of the car. Here on the air deflector, kind of cool. And this is aluminum right here. Kind of a neat little structure. And so that's the story of this 1974 Torino Squire station wagon. 13,166 of these were built, and the base price on this thing would have been $3,379, which was actually more money than a 429 powered Torino Cobra in 1970. Of course, the Torino Cobra was not a family car. This is a family car. So this car probably saw a lot of vacations, haul the kids to soccer games, whatever it might have been. Very practical car. Of course, the bigger Galaxy wagon would have been about 20% larger than this. But with that said, that's the story of this 1970 Torino Squire wagon, Motor Trend's Car of the Year for 1970. I hope you enjoyed this video. Come back tomorrow for more Junkyard Crawl. Thanks for watching.